Loyalty banner right now and sign up. Then you keep on listening like you already do. But now you earn points. Those points add up, and you can trade them in for stuff in the Radio Loyalty store. Earn more points by sharing your station with friends on Facebook and Twitter, answering surveys, and by using the apps in the New Players App Store. Pretty simple, right? Radio Loyalty. Click that banner to join now.
Hey, there's my son. You've been in your room all morning.
Hey, Dad.
Matt, what's wrong with your voice?
There is nothing wrong with my voice.
Oh, well, it's just sort of.
I have been playing my video games and electronic games for so many hours.
Uh-huh. Well, it sounds like it might be time for you to take a break, or...
Hello, Dad.
Susan?
I have been watching TV and text messaging all morning. Yay, electronics. Yay, yay, yay.
Guys, I think it's about time to get in the car and take a little trip. Maybe see some trees, some green things.
What are these green things you speak of?
This weekend, unplug. Take your family to the forest. There's nothing in the world like experiencing nature firsthand. Trees, paths, bluebirds, streams. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Get out to the forest and discover the wonders of nature with your family, just like Blue, Jewel, and the whole Rio flock.
Let the kids connect to their roots. It's going to be so much fun. Yeah!
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
I don't see the live. She said 30 minutes like 15 minutes ago.
On.
You on? I don't hear anything.
Car crashes are a leading cause.
I don't hear anything in the earphones. Do you hear anything in those earphones over there? I'm live now. I don't hear anything. That's why I was saying that. Do you hear anything?
I hear us.
You hear us? I don't hear that. Let me hold those then.
Welcome.
Go ahead. Give them the welcome because I can't hear you.
I don't know the welcome.
That don't make no sense.
I can't do it like you do it, Keisha.
I don't hear it. I can hear you.
But I see us live.
You see us?
Yeah. Look at all confused.
Hello.
And stuff. Confused. Hello.
I don't hear nothing. Welcome, I'm assuming, to Sunset Soul Radio Show. I have it. It's turned up. I'm your host, Love Dawn. I have with me my co-host, Miss Lasha G. I don't hear anything. I'm just want to believe that we're live. And Mr. the Bishop in the house.
Hey.
Thank you ever so for being here. Listen, can y'all hear me that's watching? Because I can't hear me at all. I need clarification. Can you not? I can talk to my viewers. Thank you. No, I know that. I'm saying I can't hear. So I want to make sure that they can hear. Anyhow. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Please excuse my engineer in there. He's in the mood and he was just right rude to me. Yes, I'm saying that live because it was ignorant. But thank y'all so much for tuning in. Hopefully everybody.
What? Like y'all suffering from church hurt.
I ain't suffering from no church hurt. Listen, we not doing it. Before I even send out all these invites, let me first say, outside of everyone, thank y'all for tuning in. For those who are watching, could you share this so that others can take part in the conversation? We're waiting for one of our guests, Miss Lisa. And y'all know Lisa. Lisa always tunes in and watches the show. And we wanted to get some things cleared from yesterday. Not yesterday. Why isn't like we had a show yesterday? Last week. We wanted to wanted to clear the air about some things from last week. So Lisa is coming because she is.
First of all, we are all still friends.
We are all still friends. Everybody.
Kind of, sort of.
Stop it. Everybody here loves everybody. It's not. It's not like that here. We Thank y'all for letting me know that. I appreciate it. Lisa was one of the ones that was watching the show last week, and she had a lot of input about the show. I don't care. A lot of input about the show and how we were communicating. And she felt like we weren't listening to each other, and we had to go back and we knew that communication was a problem last week. Right, it definitely was, because everybody wants to
get their point across.
Right, get their point across, and this, not that saying that everybody wants to be right, but
everybody wants to be heard.
Everybody definitely, that's what it is.
Natural,
right?
It's a human need. We all need to be heard.
Yeah, and we wanted to be heard, and though we continued with the saying that this is not a right or wrong situation, and we stand on that. This is not about being right or wrong, because it's your own perception of a situation. We still personalize these events, whatever it is that we kind of brought up, we made it our own issue, and it wasn't. We don't got nothing to do. I ain't never met Leandra. She can sing, got her music, but I ain't never met her, nor have I met Bishop Winans or anybody else that have anything to do with that conversation.
I never heard her sing before.
You heard her sing. You ain't sing a lot, not live, but like never. Oh, she sings now. She definitely sang. I can't take that from her. Which is a lot of the reason why she's probably under attack. I mean, of course, we know how that goes. When you're blessed with such a great gift, you kind of have the weight of the world on your shoulders, and everybody's expecting you to always be, ready, able to perform. You don't have a gift?
Not that everybody's ready for me to perform.
Just because of who you are as a bishop. I just put you on the spot last week. What did I say? Because of who you are, you're obligated to deal with. I just told y'all to suck it up and eat it because of who you are. That's exactly what I said.
Why you gotta be so abrasive now?
No, but that's what I'm saying that's what I said last week.
Time out. I need you to make sure you eat the rest of your food.
I'm gonna eat it.
Because you hangry right now.
I am not hungry. Am I hangry? No, I just don't like rudeness. I felt like it was a little rude. Hey, how you doing so much? Thank you so much for tuning in. Hey, Monique. Listen. Before we even get into some of that for last week, because we're going to wait for our guest, because she could give an objective view, because she listened to us. We're not going to dive into that just yet. I want to take a moment and talk, or not necessarily talk about, but just urge the community to come together. Of course, we talked about the 7-year-old Taylor who was shot a few weeks back. We talked about that on the show. But this morning, if I'm not mistaken, it was today or last night, she passed. She did pass away. Yeah, and it's been... they were working diligently, from what they're saying, to try to save her. And I think she lucked up. I don't know if that's the word I want to use, but there was a very experienced surgeon that happened to be there when she came in. So I mean, she had, from what they're saying, the best. And wow. It didn't work out in her favor, so she did pass. How you doing, Dominic? I just want everybody, to say a prayer for the family, and urge anybody who knows anything to step up. I know that's kind of the creed, that's kind of the thing in Baltimore. You mind your business, you keep your head low, and that's how you survive. But this is crazy. Everybody, what I noticed? Everybody keeps saying, they were saying on the Facebook today, was what happened to the code of no women and children, in the street. Well, that used to be a thing. Well, I mean, because we don't know the whole story, and we don't know if she was an intended target. We know that the woman that she was with had a rap sheet, and she was involved in some sort of something. And I try to stay away from that because I don't know all the logistics, but I do know that the woman that she was with was involved in something, and the question now today was, but the statement is, we have to be careful who we let our children be with, because you just don't know. And it had nothing to, it maybe didn't have anything to do with, I don't think it did, the little girl.
We used to, I don't know if your parents let you go and have overnights and be at people's house. We could not go nowhere.
We couldn't.
No. And we could not understand for the life of us why it's just around the corner. You go to school, these kids every day, but we couldn't go anywhere. Now I understand.
Yeah.
I totally.
My son just called me the other day talking about going swimming, and I'm a germaphobe anyway, but I just don't know. Just know. You just wait. Just give it a second, because sometimes all you gotta do is just wait. Sometimes it's a day or two, and then you be like, "That's why."
Yeah.
That's it, right there.
Something told me.
Right, and it ain't always an answer, and that's the thing with parents. We have got to the place that we
have to explain ourselves.
Right, that we feel like we got to make them understand. You know, we didn't understand. We didn't want to hear it because I said so back in the day, but that ended the conversation because I said so. We don't do that nowadays. We try to justify. Well, this is why, and I don't want you to go. I don't really know, but I got a feeling. I just know, because sometimes I don't have a reason. I flat out don't got a reason. You know, I just don't want you to go. So sit down. That's it. Go somewhere and sit down. That's what we was told. That's what we was told. Like, how you just go and sit down somewhere. And this is the reason why, Dominic. You want to read it? The code was not passed down by our generation of hustlers. Our sons, daughters, nieces, nephews got in this game without us explaining the rules. That's what Dominic said. You know what? I have to agree with you, because my aunt still lives in the city, and she was known. She had the corner house, so you know how that goes. You're dealing with the corner boys, and she would have a trash can outside of her gate, and she would take waters out there to the boys, and you know, and just witness to them for the most part. And she would tell them, "Can y'all do me a favor? I'm gonna put the trash can right here. Just don't throw your stuff in the street. Put it here in the trash can. I'll take it out." You know, and they respected that. When she would get things from the food bank or from the church, she would bring it out to them. If they was outside, you know, she would bring it to them. So because of that relationship that they built, they made sure they knew her name. How you doing, Miss? You know, they said, you know, they greeted her. She greeted them, and that's how they went. But then, of course, time happens. They going to jail. They getting killed. This, that, and the other. Now, she did have a person. She would say, one second. I think that might be Lisa. Can you go down? She's trying to find where to park at. She did say that the young man had wound up going to jail, and she had an issue, and she was able to reach whoever was in charge of this group of guys and let them know, you know, this is still going on, you know, this is going on, can you talk to him? And they did. But then after what, that man, by him being in jail for an extended period of time, he lost his credibility, you know, in the street. And it's done now. These young boys don't got no respect. Not at all. There is no, you'll get over it. You'll get over it, you know. Thanks for the water. They's calling out on that. That's it. They're gonna take what you got, but it's not about respect. How you doing, Warren? It's just it now, and it's like, so it's not always. I guess it goes with, like you said, it's not being passed down. I totally agree with that. I don't know if it's even changeable. So if it's not passed down and they don't got no guidance, then what?
This stuff happens. Exactly. This is exactly that.
So I mean, but how, is there any going back from this? Is there any saving grace if that's the case? Then
there's no such thing. No, we don't go back. We don't go.
So things just going. We just doomed.
Progressively worse. But this is. I mean, this is. It's scripture. Like the word is. We're gonna get progressively worse.
That's
and depressing. I hate to say it that way.
That's really depressing.
I hate to say it that way.
But I mean, if that be the case, then I guess that means stay out the game, because we ain't got nowhere to go if that's the case. But I will say this: you got people like we had him here, Squeaky. Arthur Squeaky, he has the recreation center up the street. You got people that used to be in the hood or in the gangs or in the game itself, who have became ministers, who have became worked in outreach and all that. I just don't think they are as visible as they should be. Like you used to have, well, you had Jamal Bryant and other ministers and stuff like that kind of in the streets.
Right.
But it was always for political gain, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but it seemed that way.
I mean, even,
Can you read that? Dominic said,
when I was coming up, there was a code. No women and children. When the hustlers saw someone's mom coming through, they stopped production, let the mom go through. They'd even help mom with grocery bags. Plus, they looked out for us if we were outside. And it's true. I mean, that is how it was. But nowadays, just people just so ruthless. It's heartless.
It's really, really heartless. I can't even imagine. I want to believe that whoever did that to that young lady has not stepped up out of fear and not out of being heartless. I just want to believe. Now, not saying that that's justifiable. I'm just saying I want to believe that it wasn't an intended target. I want to believe that fear is what's leading them right now, and eventually guilt will welcome Lisa to the room. If you smell onions, it's my fault. Okay, because nobody else.
I do, but they don't smell bad.
But mine. This isn't. We're gonna fix this in a second. So everybody, Lisa's here. Thank you so much, for coming in. I was just telling them about we are going to try to clear the air about some things from on last week. But right now,
on the way up.
Huh?
I was threatened on the way out.
You was threatened? Oh Lord, Bishop, you can't get threatened people. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Is that what you gonna do? You done picked a side, didn't you?
But right now we are speaking about the young lady. I'm not sure if you heard about the young lady named Taylor, the 7-year-old that was killed. And I know you're from DC, right? Is that the project? I know you see because it's with such a connection, right? You see that a lot. I just recently saw something about a 7-year-old that was murdered. I don't know what this is with our children that's being targeted. And I'm noticing even with that, Facebook has been posting a lot of abuse of children, and this whole pass this on so we can. And it makes I get the logic. I get why you feel like this will help find the person, but it drives me insane. Like, we got to figure out another way to do that. And then after a certain amount of people report it, then Facebook will put the disclaimer up. But it takes a certain amount of reporting before Facebook even puts a disclaimer up to say this has, if you click on this and then a certain view, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I don't want to see this. And it's so crazy because, I don't do a whole lot of, pushing of my book a lot on the show, but I told you, it's almost scary to look at how the book Nibia that I wrote is kind of like in my face how they use the children. The children was talking, and I wrote this book 2 years ago. I'm not saying that children weren't being used 2 and 3 and 4 years ago, but it was just in hindsight what was coming. That evil were going to specifically use children as the target to get the community, to get the parents. It's not about going after the parents. Go after their children. Right. And then the crazy thing is, even in my story, the children were the target, but then the adults fell in line. And I even said, like, what? Why is that? But if you think about it now, that's what happened. You have these grown people following kids.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I don't understand what's going on, but it's kind of like,
that's because people are grown, but they're not mature.
Right. So they're still, like you said, there's nobody teaching them. So Lasha said we're doomed while y'all were gone, because I'm like, where are we going?
According to the scripture, it's going to get progressively worse. We cannot be surprised when the world does what the world does. Like, it's just a sign that we need to start preparing ourselves to get our children in line and get them, because we get a little, our kids in this generation, they're not as invested in church the way we were. I know mine isn't. We didn't compromise on how many Sundays he coming to church, and I didn't have an option when I was younger. So these things are signs to kind of get us to a place of awareness where we realize it's time to start getting it together. Because
well, even if you look at it biblically, every time God was going to do something great in the earth with the generation, the decree goes out with people of hierarchy or politicians and all. Let's kill young ones. Let's kill the vision that's about to come into the atmosphere. Look at Jesus' time. Look at Moses' time. When those great leaders were birthing, was going to do something great. You saw Pilate, you saw Pharaoh, you saw people that had authority to kill start killing. So you got to look at now. There's something that's about to happen in this generation, and the enemy have to kill it off before it is birthed.
So then you're opposite of doomed.
Oh no.
Okay. You're saying that there's a greatness that's coming.
There is greatness coming. There has to be greatness so that God can lead His people out of the bondage that they're coming out of, that we're coming out of, that the generations are coming out of. But before then, you're going to look at a lot of massacres happening. You're going to look at a lot of illnesses coming out. You're going to look at a lot of people, police officers. Back in those days, who were the police officers but Pharaoh's army that was killing the children of Israel? You look at even Jesus' time, it was a decree put out to kill all the young men born in Bethlehem or in Israel. What happened? They had to hide those that were supposed to bring the next generation. My problem is we're not hiding our children. Like you said earlier, we let them go to their friend's house knowing that their friends are in the middle of mess.
Or not knowing if they are or not.
We some of us do.
Right.
Even the real parents, they get that gut feeling like, man, I know I shouldn't let you, but you're not gonna leave me alone until I let you. So you got to learn yourself. Well, no, they don't need to learn. You need to leave them in the house so that they can be protected. If Moses was never hidden, if Jesus was never hidden, guess what would have happened?
Well, I think because children bring about change. So you want to stop that at the head, because they come with new ideas, and they don't want that. They want old heads. They want people who believe in what they believe in, who are not going to challenge it. Even if you want to do something different, you're not as strong. You're not, So, I mean, that's why they target them. And we don't protect our children like we're supposed to, because parents aren't, I wouldn't say hard, but they're not firm like they used to be.
I'll admit that.
I'll be honest. A lot of stuff that my parents did, I don't do because I remember how I felt when I was a kid. So a lot of the stuff I'm like, oh, that wasn't really necessary. I ain't had to do that.
Kind of rebelling.
Right. And now I'm like, oh, I see why they did that.
Right.
So I mean, I'm just out of immaturity, pure immaturity.
Well,
but how do you know
we care about whether they like us and all that kind of stuff, which back in the day,
I don't really care if they like me or not. I mean, well, a lot of parents do. Right. I'm past that. I want the relationship that I see with other people. So like, it's not that I want you to like me, but I do want to have the relationship that you feel like you can come and talk to me, and we say that. But then, depending on the time that they choose to come, your response may not be as open or willing, or as it would be when you actually thought to yourself, I want to have that relationship. Maybe if they would have talked right then when you was in that moment, probably would have worked. But after coming home from work, or after having an argument with somebody, and then they want to talk, then you back to how your mother used to be. What do you want? They're like, now you that, and then you lose the moment.
I feared my mother and my grandmother until I learned respect for them. And they didn't care whether I feared them or not. And they made sure we feared them at a certain age until the point where we respect them, and they became friendly, not our friends. So we were able to go and talk to them about certain situations. Prior to that, it wasn't, oh, come talk to me. No, you're going to need me. But until then, I'm going to bust that head until you realize you're going to need me more than I do.
But this young girl, because of this age, that we're talking about teenagers 9 times out of 10, I'm assuming. This young girl was 7, so she hadn't gotten to the place yet of building a relationship, or being, even 9 times out of 10, being disrespectful. You do still have some kids that's disrespectful, but I'm saying the likelihood that she hadn't gotten to that place yet of being rebellious and so forth. This is just about protecting our kids. The responsibility of us as parents to say, you know what, I know what you do, like, I'll go with you, but they can't go with you. And that's sometimes people have to do that, because it's like that I make a conscious decision as an adult to put myself in that situation. If you're my friend, and I'm not, because I'm saying this specifically because I do have friends or family that I know is in that life. And I'm not going to say that I'm not reluctant to sometimes, like, I don't know if I want to go to this party, I know what they got going on, or I know their history, but I'll still go. I have now, as an adult, made a decision to put myself in this position, also covering myself, like, God, I know this is probably not the best decision, but please cover me here. I'm just going to celebrate with them, with my family, stuff like that. But this child ain't thinking like that, Can
I say this? Coming up, parents had a plan for their children. These days, parents don't have a plan. They have the children, they just try their best to raise the children, but there's no plan. So you're not protecting anything, not even the life, because you really don't have a plan. My mother made sure at this age and at that age, you're going to do this. This is what we have planned for you. You're going to go to school. You're going to graduate. I'm protecting the investment that I'm placing in you. Even my son right now, when I got custody of my son, I drove into his heart and his mind that this is what's going to happen. I don't care what you know now, that to the point when I got my son, and his mom might be watching right now, he had a 1.57 GPA. When he graduated top of his class, got a $150,000 scholarship to Hampton University, free ride. Why? Because we had a plan.
And let me tell you something. I was like, why are you so hard on that boy? Why don't you pick that boy up? Why don't you do this, that, and the third? Why don't you did you really make him walk that far? I fussed as much as I could.
Yes.
Because his LJ was just like my baby. And sure enough, I'm paying tuition, he not. So I'm going to shut up.
Well, that was how I raised mine, but I mean, it was a hard road.
Yeah.
And, you know, I wasn't doing what all the other parents were doing, so I was labeled mean or, you know, and I was okay with that. I mean, you know, my husband and I are good cop, bad cop. And I'm good with being bad cop because you need the balance, but at the same time, I knew things or felt things that they had no clue, so I knew they weren't going to understand, but my no was my no. And now they see, and I can see that they heard me. But back then, you know, it was a battle because everybody else is going out and they got a D, okay, but I'm not their mother. And any of my friends whose children came to my home, my rules are my rules. So there were children who were like, well, I want to go home now. No, you're going to stay here. And I took every moment
and I ain't calling your mother. Not telling her, don't tell her because I'm not calling you back.
They were there to stay, and they were mad at me for a minute, but it's interesting how kids actually want that kind of guidance.
They do.
Wow.
And the people came after me didn't realize they need that. They don't know they need it, and they don't know that later on they'll appreciate that. Because even now when I'm hanging with my husband and we talking about what we remembered as kids, we remember that parent who followed us to school or made sure everybody was at school, and when they caught you walking somewhere else, the teachers were telling, or everybody was telling, and it wasn't tattling, it was because they know your mama don't play.
It wasn't snitching, it was telling. You ain't snitching, you telling.
And what makes me feel bad is because now, like with being a person who did summer camps for so many years, and then I fell back on these past 3 years of summer camp, the first thing coming to my mind is she should have been with me. That's the thing that comes. I mean, and because of the area that she was in, I was probably 10, 15 minutes away. My summer camp was like 10 to 15 minutes away from her. So in my mind, no matter how much I try to put it out of my head, that's my demographic. Her age group is my age group. That's who would have been with me. And it's summertime, and she was in somebody's car, meaning she was in she was just home.
No program and nothing.
She was just home. And taking me out of the equation, they just the Youth Works program just lost 70% of their budget.
Really?
Wow. That's why the kids, it's so many kids that's not placed right now with jobs. Actually, the guy Squeaky, the one I was telling you about, Arthur Squeaky, to have the community center, he the one, so he kept saying, they might get that youth workers yet, they might get the youth workers yet, and I didn't really know the answer to that because I'm not doing it this year. But come to find out, they slashed the budget. They slashed the budget, and a great deal of it. And I'm like, this is what I'm saying. But yet, which I wrote this Baltimore's the police department is transferring 115. Okay, it's transferring 115 cops on the street now for street patrol because of the violence. Listen, y'all, we're gonna continue this when we come back. If those who are watching, can you share this so that others can take part in the conversation? And we're gonna continue this subject when we come right back. Stay tuned.
Now, I'm not gonna say all Aries don't know, but
it's just the one you had. That was just
the long one, right? You know. But it's always something that you can.
Go ahead, so can you recollect any signs that you might like get right?
October 15th or 16th. What is that?
And Libras.
See, I've had some good Libras and I had one really bad Libra, but he was white, so he his back anyway. So I don't.
Wait, hold on, wait a minute. Demonstrate. You got to demonstrate the back.
No. Ain't no way.
Not the nerve. How they bust? But show how they bust.
And then want to cry afterwards. I mean, what the f is the point of the tears? I mean, I can see you shake, and shake it off real quick. But you crying? F out of here.
What was he crying for?
Cause baby, this pussy make that. You in? I got that good nasty.
Work by Demand radio show.
2 years ago. If you broke that bike and it don't work, that's on you, brother. I suggest you get that toolkit out back and then start working with it, right? Yeah. So my son's looking at me like, wow. And I broke down to him how we had got fixing flat tires down to a science. You understand what I mean? Sticking the tube in the water. Right? Talk to me, brother. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, critical thinking. And see, and we look at that now, and like kids, they not as on hands like we were back in the day.
That's because now
nowadays you don't have to put the bikes together anymore. They can come assembled.
Yeah, everything's coming
When you buy it
assembled.
in the store, they ask you like if you want it already assembled.
Right.
Back then you just got the box with 1 million pieces.
Right. And today I don't think they could work with that.
It's just like the thought process. Nowadays you get a bike that's already put together. Now when you were younger, you had to put this bike together.
You got to put it together.
That basically closes your mind into learning how to do something. now.
Yes.
Now you're giving it something. So okay, you take this and this is what it is.
Right,
So now
right.
we have to run with this instead of teaching the child. This is how you put this together, so you see the result as this.
Right. Critical thinking. I like that. So look, not to cut you off, Miss Denise, but let's go to our first commercial break, and then we're going to come back and finish talking about critical thinking.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
You are now listening to Just a Bit Outside, a sports radio show at BeExposedRadio.com. Come join us every Monday night from 8 to 10 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, or
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Okay, I think we're back. Welcome back. Before the commercial break, we were speaking about Taylor, excuse me, the young girl that was murdered. Well, she died today. She was shot a couple weeks back. We spoke about her, the young lady around the Emerson Avenue area. We were speaking on the responsibility of us as parents to protect our children and how some of us are kind of falling along the wayside. And we were talking about the Baltimore City, the youth, and not just being kind of just running amok. Actually, this started back during the conversation. This conversation started back during Freddie Gray, when they were saying where the youth don't have anything to do. I remember that year clearly because summer camps went. I mean, there was no money in it because they had given the city so much money for programs just to be able to put the kids somewhere. So they had opened up all of these free recs, and it was recs and pools that had been closing down, because that's what they were saying. They closed the parks, they closed the pools. So they had given them all this money. I don't know who they is, but somebody gave them money. And opened up all this, but there was no curriculum. So it was basically a safe haven for everybody to just kind of go and just kind of have a free fall. So it wasn't, and I'm not knocking it. You know, it hurt for people who were doing camps, as far as, you know, if you were looking for any type of financial gain. That wasn't a good thing. But I'm saying that to say it was just to keep you quiet. There was nothing. There was no curriculums. There was no plan for the following year. There was no strategies as far as taking this money and building on it so that we can have something last. No, it was just, let's put them somewhere so we can get them off our back. Then that's what they did, and then now we right back where we started from. You got these kids that don't have nowhere to go.
Here's my issue. What happened to the old, now these are names y'all may not know, but I'm just going to use them. What happened to the Miss Humphreys and the Miss Smiths that they had kids and they didn't mind other kids coming to their houses? We were, when I say community, a real community. When parking planning closed down, because they closed down before the school start, we didn't just run the street. We had one house we would go to early in the morning. At 10 o'clock, if you up at 10, we down Miss Humphrey house. Everybody sitting on the front. She giving us snowball. We didn't have snowballs back then. We had frozen cups. But we would scrape that frozen cup.
I'm serious.
All it is frozen Kool-Aid.
How much time it take to get that frozen cup down there?
That's 2 hours right there.
That's a life. That is a life save.
But we don't do that
because that works out aggression.
We parents.
I'm saying
now saying.
Look, I was tuned in for a minute.
No, it really do work out aggression. Do you got to take that spoon?
Like the fidget spinners that they use.
Yeah.
And we went from sitting on a front porch, seeing everything, to now everybody in the backyard minding their own business.
Because neighbors don't know neighbors. We don't.
It's a scary thing.
Yeah,
we don't know who live next door.
And they don't know your children until your child get hurt or do something dumb. I didn't even know that child lived there. Why?
Yeah,
because the community wasn't effective. We're not effective anymore. Right. We're ineffective. We allow crazy stuff to happen, and we'll talk about everything else but the ones that are really important. Our children. We got the gossip down pat.
Are you want to read Dominic?
I'm sorry.
No, you could have said it. Dominic said the village is gone, period. It's a lot of single parents that don't have people in place, especially in the neighborhood, to keep an eye on the children. Most of everyone's minds, everyone minds their business. and will not get involved. Plus, there are no after-school programs, like you said, for the kids to go to. No supervision at home, no after-school programs, just makes idle time for trouble to find you.
Bring back frozen cups.
And front porches.
And front no, but you know what though? Because you know what happens at the front porch? On the front porch, like you said, you people watch.
Yeah.
And you people watch and you learn. You know what? Every time I turn around, she doing something a little funky over there by the alley. Yeah, that's your cue. When you see your child or somebody else's child get ready to go in the alley after you done saw Mr. Such and Such go in the alley, little girl, you might want to back up because I don't feel. But you don't watch. People ain't people watching no more. I mean, they're not sitting outside.
They don't want to see because they don't want to.
Not at all. Mind your business. And listen, I don't. You ain't got to snitch, but you can protect. I'll be honest with you. I was never the one for the snitching. That was just never my thing. I didn't do that. You know, never was the one for calling the police unless it was. I mean, involving some sort of like weapons, physical, like it had to be not even physical. I can get past the physical. I'm talking about it had to be weapons involved for me to call the police. That's just how I was, because that's what I don't have. Anything else, I can work it out. But protecting the youth was always my thing. Like I was always watchful. My gift for discernment, and which I don't even. I'm not taking anything away from discernment. Like just knowing your neighborhood, just knowing. Every time such go in that house, she in there for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and then come back out a different person than how she went in. Something ain't right about that area right there. Is what I'm saying. No, you can't go over there. Like just that's it. Just watching. We don't watch no more because of the phones, and we doing everything other than paying attention.
We don't value the nosy.
I'm serious. That nosy got you out of trouble many a day, and we don't.
Wrong with being nosy.
Not at all.
It'll save many lives.
I'm serious. We don't do. And then now you got all of this. Like my son was asking about going swimming. You got all these people going to the beach and going swimming, getting all these flesh-eating bacteria from like the smallest. People ain't taking care of themselves. Let alone, why you scratching?
Because you about to not let your kids do nothing.
I'm serious. It's not even about being. This is beyond germs. This is beyond.
They can't go to the pool.
You got to get.
You thinking?
She went
this
all the
is
way
really.
Dimetapp take away all that.
Dimetapp is not. Robitussin is what it is.
Yes, just Robitussin on it. So bitch, they rub their yard.
Oh my God. So
y'all rubbing Dimetapp on it?
Yeah,
I'm not rubbing no Dimetapp. Stop it.
You just get Dimetapp. That was it.
I'm wondering when that age.
You got a cold, or
I didn't know that one.
You got poison ivy. Just go get you some Dimetapp.
No, you say Dimetapp. All family.
That is expensive. Dimetapp, you can buy it, and it's cheap.
Well, no wonder they still sick, because I don't think that was gonna solve.
No, we was always supposed to go to sleep. A nap was our saving grace. Take a nap. That's it.
Just take a nap.
That's it. You get a little cold compress, you be alright.
No, we use the cold for the fan. When you ain't had no air conditioning, you take that cold rag, put it on the back of the fan, and let it blow.
See much. Now we back at nostalgia. We were supposed to do the.
The old one, the good old days.
Listen, y'all. Just a couple quick. Hey, Trina.
Just a couple. Trina only speak to Keisha now.
I think she had already said your name. You don't see it?
No.
It's up there. Before we get into our main topic, I just want to get through the quick announcements. I put it on the page, but new law: no more sodas on your children's menus. They are now barred from the children menus in Maryland. So you as a parent can still order a soda for your child, but it cannot be offered with the
meals,
the lunches in restaurants, anything that's a kid's meal. You can't get a soda. Is not.
Also like the Happy Meals and stuff. So
well, McDonald's was already doing that. No, it's not an option. Yeah. You can get the milk or juice, but you as a parent can get it. The child, but it's not on the menu, and the child can't get it. Like you have to say, can you add? Can he have a soda? You see what I'm saying? Instead of that, it's not a part of the package anymore. And that's in any restaurants. And they're trying to, and it's just, so it's not them, they're not necessarily stopping the children from getting a soda. It's what they're saying is, I do want you to be aware that this is not the best decision. So it's just a little reminder.
Juice box.
Just let them get a juice. No? Okay, well.
I mean, why would you?
Right. I mean, because it's supposed to be so unhealthy. But listen, you know what? I gagged at this because I'm like, you taking the soda off, but then everything we got killing us. We had the vegetables. That's got salmonella. We just were saying last week, you got the cut up vegetable. Then this week, They couldn't kill us with the vegetables. They ain't eat no vegetables. Let's kill them off with the cakes I put out. What was that? The Swiss rolls. Now, how you got salmonella in the Swiss rolls? Salmonella.
Are you serious?
I am serious. It's on the Sunset Soul page. I put it up.
Little Debbie Swiss rolls.
Little Debbie Swiss?
No.
How? Do you get salmonella?
You know I sit on the side of my bed with the oatmeal cookies?
Well, they said
2 o'clock.
Oatmeal cookies popping salmonella is what you're doing. It's what I said. Salmonella is. Well, I don't know if it's all of them. It's on the page.
So you haven't heard about crab meat?
You gotta stop doing that.
Huh?
Yeah,
it's crab meat too.
I heard something about the crab meat for DC, Maryland.
Oh, you got.
I think I did see that.
There were 4 areas where they were putting you on alert.
I think I did see that. Did I not put
crabs
that
that were coming out of Venezuela or somewhere?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And the gagger, because they were saying, well, we don't get the market, we don't get it from. It was a gag because I was talking to somebody, and they was like, well, we don't buy that Venezuelan crab meat from the market. I said, but who do your crab meat people buy from? Right. You going to G&M's or this one or that one? Where they buy that crab meat from? You don't know, but
that's somebody just don't deep think.
Right. So if what can you eat? You
I don't know what
can't
you talking about.
You can't eat vegetables, entrees, or dessert. You can't drink the water because they talking about all of the. What can you do? But listen, you can't eat anything. But let's be sure them children don't get that soda. Like that's what I gag up.
It's sugar in the juice.
It is absolutely sugar in the juice.
It's easier to get your kids to drink water if you start them early.
That's true.
Now all my son wants is Gatorade and Powerade and. No.
The swirls, the Swiss.
Is he about to talk about the Swiss roll again?
Look, it's on. Did you pull it up?
No, I don't want to see it.
I'm telling you, it's there.
He said it's hard.
Is that everywhere?
I guarantee.
I didn't
make
look
it
at
to Baltimore.
Look it up.
Bel Air Road.
Look, listen.
Safeway.
If it's in anywhere, if that's the same thing how I started with the vegetables, and the list keep growing. So you want to find out? Eat the Swiss roll.
He gonna eat them anyway.
And then we'll let y'all know if the bishop ain't here
I
next
wasn't
week.
suggesting they eat it to find out. I thought you wanted to do some research.
I need you to catch an agree. We got to
listen. So we got the Swiss roll. I mean, we got that's what happened. Listen, on a more well, before we get into the more serious note, let me just get through all of the news, just in case those who didn't see it. They shut down my market for one day. They shut down Lexington Market. Was it 1 day or 2 days because of the rat issue? And then you remember there was a video going around of the rat inside of the case. Did we talk about that last week on the show?
With the cake or
with the cake. But then they turned around. Somebody recorded 2 rats playing on the floor in my beloved Northeast Market, and then they shut down Northeast Market.
No, they volunteered that.
Northeast Market volunteered. Ooh, they said it first. They did it out of the pressure.
let me say this though. Sandtowns Avenue Market still going strong. Thank you very much.
Nobody go to no Sandtown Avenue. We don't even know what that is.
They all right with the rats.
It's on Pennsylvania Avenue.
You think they know rats on Pennsylvania Avenue? The rats are just trained not to rat out the market.
No snitching. Listen, if y'all see a phone, I need y'all to stay behind the wall. They taking pictures of us up in there.
Listen, what bothers me is because the rat that was in I keep saying staircase, the case, food case, whatever you call it, they were eating the food. That's a problem. Or they didn't even eat it, which that's what you should be thinking about. Why didn't the rat eat this food? That's the first. That should be the question at hand. Take that off the table. Northeast Market rats was on the floor doing what rats do. They were just playing. They were just minding their own business. They was just playing. Ain't bothering nobody. They ain't bothering no food. Our chicken gizzards was still intact the next day.
I ain't never heard rats mentioned in a just playing sentence. They were just playing.
They were just because they wasn't
They was playing.
But listen, if you go to any market, Safeway, Giant, Wegmans, anything you love that has a butcher, you got rats.
Don't say that.
Anything with blood and raw meat, you got rodents. Now they should do better.
Be an inspector for DC for restaurants, and she said you would be surprised the restaurants you would put certain ones on the list, but those weren't even the ones. So she doesn't like to eat out
because then your mother can attest to the fact that there is a certain amount allowed.
It is.
That's what I was about to say.
Meaning, because you can't avoid it. You cannot avoid it as long as there's blood, raw meat. These animals are going to find their way in, and rats can eat through steel wool and all that. You can figure it out. Now, the problem is you have to continuously stay up on your on your what do you call it when they come in and extermination, right? And that's what I think that they dragging their feet on. You know, you have to be proactive.
Well, keep in mind though that Baltimore is a rat-infested place. And the infestation of rats is ridiculous.
It is. That was somebody put that up.
Baltimore City even invested in trying to get rid of the rats, and it didn't work. When the whole city chipped in.
Because all the rats there from Lexington Market was going down Northeast Market.
In Santa,
They're not insane.
They just not.
We didn't
come out yet.
That's all they did.
I'm sorry, Dominic. They coming down there, brother.
Dominic said
they coming down there, Dominic.
Dominic said they're on their way.
And they're not eating the Swiss rolls.
Take your friends.
Well, I mean, she's talking about like they the neighbors or something. They coming down. They coming down by Wednesday.
We gotta go somewhere.
That means Sandtown ain't got no good food. That's why.
They don't come down Sandtown because the crackheads.
They don't come down Sandtown because y'all got a whole bunch of Chinese stores up and down the street, and they ain't stupid. They was like, no, we want to live.
They have given these rats life. I'm just
a whole sitcom up in here.
All right. So we did that. Sorry, I just want to make sure I tap into everything else that was. Oh, the fish. So I put a post up of the fish. There was a fried. It looked like trout rainbow. I don't know, something with a large fin on the outside. And it was fried. And I'm saying it's fried. And I'm saying it twice because the fish supposedly, not supposedly, it did come back to life.
What? It didn't come back to life.
It was moving.
It moved
up and down in this way.
But it happens.
What happens? What are you saying happens? I mean, I need to be clear.
It's a reflex.
You mean after you've been fried?
A chemical reflex. When
so you're gonna have to say this one more time after you say it. I'm not.
After it's fried, the chemicals in some of the seasonings can sometimes create like the nervous system in the bones.
Fried though, it's fried.
What kind of fish?
Like not the grease. The grease
it was fish with gills.
Didn't do anything.
Like is it a certain kind of fish that does
I don't know. It was.
I'm gonna tell you what catfish. Like I was saying before, catfish should do it even if you freeze it.
Okay.
If you freeze it for days and defrost it and get ready to cook it.
You saying some
salmon?
I'm gonna tag you in the post. Tilapia ain't real.
I don't want to whip nothing like that.
It's probably fish that's caught straight out of the water.
No.
Yeah.
Please don't say. I mean, all of them come back.
No,
I don't know. I don't know that
come straight out of the water and cut. They cleaned and cooked freshly. Those are the ones that will.
I mean, like, what kind of time frame we talking about?
Well,
30 days.
You eat it, then it ain't
from Sandtown, it's 30 days. Come back.
It's from Sandtown, they got a chance.
I'm telling you.
Wow. But it kind of freaked me out because I had just ate, I just cooked fish the other day. But the head was off. But do you know they say, I don't want to get into that, but do you know they say humans can do that? Like, if you chop a person's head off, they still have a period of time that they can actually. Chickens too, yeah. So I'm assuming, but this fish was fried.
I can handle a human because I'm not eating you or anything like that.
You can handle a human.
I mean, saying that I understand.
No, you can. You couple steps before you go down.
The fish thing is bothering me.
But have you seen this chicken running around with his head cut off?
I did.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I agree, Dominic. Tilapia should not be consumed.
Is this a Baltimore thing?
What? The chicken?
The fish?
The chicken running around with the heads cut off? Where y'all seeing
Well, that's a saying. That's an old school saying. You run around like a chicken with his head cut off.
I mean, I gotta get that, but y'all act like I saw this yesterday. Okay.
I seen that outside.
Okay.
No. Where's my paper?
Dominic says that tilapia should not be consumed.
Yeah, and I agree.
I don't mess with tilapia.
I agree.
I can't say it shouldn't be consumed.
It shouldn't be.
I used to say it's not healthy, but it is. It tastes good, so it should be consumed. It's just not healthy.
Just like that salmonella-filled Swiss roll you about to
eat those 12 rolls. And then
they only come 10 in a pack.
No, not if you get the family pack.
Oh.
But hold up, are you sharing with the family?
Is that's the question?
No, what happened was there's salmonella in it.
Oh Lord! So you can't.
No, I won't.
All right, listen. What time is it? Okay, so we got the fish, the dead but alive, yet alive might be dead fish. Good news. Governor Hogan, I put that on the page. We didn't get a chance to talk about that last week either. Governor Hogan has approved the free community college. Did y'all see me put that on the thing? That is awesome. That is awesome, awesome, awesome. It starts in 2019. Stipulations. You have to be out of high school 2 years, at least no more than 2 years out of high school.
So all of us old people can't get back.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, yes, I'm about to be out. But it was crazy because we would be the ones that would appreciate it and actually do the work, if you, in my opinion. But okay,
well,
you got.
But the purpose of it is to provide an incentive for this generation.
I get it. I'm still jealous.
So why would they say you have to be out for 2 years?
No, you have up to 2 years. You have to go within 2 years.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You can come directly after, but after 2 years, you're young.
Okay.
You had to have had a 2.3, at least 2.3 GPA in high school, which is really, that's like a C, low C actually.
Yeah.
2.3 or higher. Your family has to make less than $125,000 a year, and if you're a single parent household, less than 90,000.
Oh, that's good.
So that's still really good. And you, like I said, you must enroll up within the 2 years after finishing high school, and you have to take at least 12 credits and maintain that 2.3 GPA to stay in school. So I think that is a awesome idea, though. It is Maryland. Yep,
I agree.
It's all Maryland.
That's a good one.
So kudos to Governor.
I'm actually not sure if college is the best thing for everybody.
I don't believe that college is the best thing for everybody, and then at least not at that time.
College initiative for different reasons, though, for the purpose of student loan debts. I
don't think they actually teach that properly either.
The fact that we used to be laborers and made money laboring. Like if you look at our grandparents, they're sitting comfortable in their pensions from the labor that they did. They put in hard work and they did the work, and they retired at 65, and they're good. Our generation, I'm not retiring at 65 the way things going. Now I gotta student loan debt. I gotta pay.
And Sally Mae is serious about hers. She don't mean she mean it. I think that was all the small stuff. Also, for y'all women, listen, be careful out here. There was a guy who went on a date with a woman and stole her car to go on another date with another woman. So just give me your heads up. Keep your keys.
First of all, you had to
I just did. He was in Memphis, Tennessee. He stole it. He went on a date, stole the woman keys and car to go on another date, and the date was a drive-in movie. So I guess he needed the car.
I was looking for the
we have a reason, people.
Logic. That was smart. That was smart.
It makes it.
Listen,
you were not supposed to say that out loud.
I'm just saying, but thankfully they caught him and got a car.
At the drive-in? I hope they caught him.
Well, he lasted 2 hours, so he got
at least 2 hours.
So is that smart?
So keep your keys or get a GPS. Dominic says taking the car to go to another date. That's gangster. Listen, the date must not have been going right well because he knew he wasn't gonna get a second date after that. Oh, I thought you said I could hold the car. You said no, because see, Trump and that double negative got me off. Got me off.
What I'm saying was, I'm not
you could not. I could. Oh, okay, so I should not.
You said I not should.
I could hold the car. Okay, got it. It's 45 for everything. Sorry.
Building wall.
That's who needs to be on that. Huh?
These kids still in jail?
What?
Who?
The little Mexican kids. I mean, immigrant children.
Yeah, they all still there. His wife said it's like camp. So they at camp.
I'm not going to address that.
Just letting you know.
I don't know where they are. Last I checked, I'm not even going to say that.
I didn't mean to say
last thing, more on a more serious note. So we're going to get into our topic because we're going into 8 o'clock. What I also posted this on the Sunset Soul page, and it kind of threw me. There was a question that was put up and it pissed me off. I don't know if y'all saw it. It should actually, I'm gonna go to the question, segue into the main topic. Let me go back. There was also a post that I put up about the women in Kenya because of the lack of information. In Kenya, There are men who have contracted the HIV virus who believe that sleeping with a grandma, you saw, because I think you were on the post with me and with me and Miss Moore, sleeping with a grandma would cure them of HIV. So these
Yes.
Wait a minute. I do remember that.
Ghana, all those places, they were saying that these men that was contracting HIVs was sleeping with infant babies to get rid of the disease.
And this is the thing.
We just didn't have internet, so it didn't go viral.
Right, but I vaguely remember that. Listen, y'all, we have so much more to talk about. We're trying to get it all in this 2 hours, but when we come back, we have to discuss this situation and the lack of information of our brothers and sisters in Kenya. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Every Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m.
I'll give you an example of mine, and this is real simple, but I know I'm not the only one that this happened to. So I went to Target last night, and I'm shopping. I'm just filling my cart with this and that. Ooh, I like this. Ooh, a little Christmas gift right there. Get to the register. They ringing it all up, and they say, ma'am, your total is blah, blah, blah. I open my wallet. I go in my wallet, and my debit card is not in there. I was caught slipping, y'all. I was caught slipping. Oh, my wonderful merchandise. I had to leave there at the store because I was caught slipping. I didn't have my card. Now, I know I'm not the only one that has happened to. For sure. Alright, so
before I walk into places, I check. I'd be like, hold on, before I go in and touch anything, let me just.
I know. I probably will do that now. Hopefully.
My name is Ruth Rusey. I'm a retired teacher. I'm 91 years old, and this is how I live United. I say retired, but not really. Once a week, I read books to children as part of United Way's education program. Reading to a child creates links between language and literacy. It creates a bond between grown-up and child. And believe it or not, it prepares them for a better academic future. Oh, we read about frogs and flies and pigs with wings, all sorts of juicy stuff. It's a joy to watch all those little faces. I figure I have the time and they have the need. And I've always believed that if we're not here to help each other, then what are we here for really? My name is Ruth Rusey. I help kids prepare to succeed in school. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
My name is Meera Batra. I have been in this country 32 years, and this is how I live united. America has always been the land of promise, and in my community many families have come for a better life. Coming from another culture myself, I know the desire to become part of a community, to feel at home and to gain the tools for our children and families to succeed. So I advocate for these families with United Way. United Way empowers them to look beyond their histories and to see what opportunities are available. We help them get involved with their kids' schools, network within the community, and when we do, we unite them. We make the community stronger. What I do is something I wish someone had done for me, and I am so grateful I am able to. My name is Meera Batra. I help families see opportunities and succeed. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund.
Check out this flashback from Sunset Soul Radio.
Sometimes, and let me say this, sometimes people did things a certain way because that's all they knew. Right. So let me what I'm saying. Let me keep to my point. If the only thing they knew 40 years ago was to handle like this, that's what they did. So we're holding accountable and a standard for something that some people, that's all they knew how to do. So they did it the way they had to do. Big Mama, when you did something, no, I'm not arguing. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the church as a whole, we have issues that we need to work on. Everything got issues. But instead of criticizing the church, let's be impactful to show something different. It bothers me. Because guess what? Because watch this. This is what I do. This is I can't say it to anybody else. But my church is not judgmental. We love God.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
We're back. See?
That was really good though.
You know what? We need to go. We need to do something while we're on commercial break and record some of these conversations.
I'm trying to tell you.
Because this man just said he bought a whole lamb.
Yeah, and me and my uncle cut it up and we split it, and that was the best grilled lamb I've ever cooked. Smoked.
Well, before the commercial break, we were talking
back to grandma.
Talking about grandmas being raped. How we got lamb?
Wow.
I don't even know, but we're here now. Yes, we would say, okay, so over in Kenya, you're dealing with a group of guys who have contracted HIV, and they, because of not being informed properly, they believe that sleeping with grandmas will cure them of the disease. Now, the first thing is, it is rape one way or the other. Right. Though they are not setting out to rape, they're trying to cure themselves. They're raping. These grandmas are not like, hey, come on so you can be cured. That's the first thing. Because some of it was like, well, though it's wrong, I mean, that's them not being educated.
Who told them that was going to...
I don't know, but that's the same thing as the man was saying with them having, we can say 95, 95, that they were raping children and young girls because they believe that. My thing is, who was healed? Who did this and then went back and was cured for this legend to continue on? That's like the people saying, send this and you'll receive a blessing in 24 hours. Like, don't send it to me until you respond with, I got my blessing.
In 24 hours.
Right. Like, everybody do it. Like, you really, if you got your blessing in 24 hours, I promise you, send it to me next. And you ain't going to have to fight about the chain letter. They're going to be asking you, can you send me that chain letter? Like,
right.
But people believe in it just because somebody said it, and now you are terrorizing these women to the extent that they have to go and have self-defense courses.
That's terrible.
That's yelling, and they're just yelling no.
No, like lady told the story about how she yelled and reached back and grabbed his member.
Okay, she did say it, but I'm saying they're the ones who can't fight. The yell with their chanting is no. That's it. Like, no. I'm really serious. I'm not saying it in a fun way. I'm really not.
Okay, but understand that a lot of it.
It took me in a moment for me.
Right.
Like, just ain't now. A lot of it is for their mental stability, because at the end of the day, if you're walking around fearing that you'll be raped and you have no defenses whatsoever, you'll be in terror.
Right. Okay.
So even if all this does is to give them a little bit of confidence to walk from the outhouse to their house, it's worth it.
My question is, who's protecting them after this? Because if the government is not protecting them, then no one really doesn't. All it's doing is nothing.
Well, I think it's about drawing attention. Right. I don't think the villagers sitting around looking while they're being raped. So if they can yell, that's no different from stranger danger without children. Right. One of the first things you teach your kids is make some noise. Help, this is not my mom. That's the first thing, stranger danger. Yeah. That's the immediate response. And if you get that drilled in their head, like you say, when in shock, it'll be kind of second nature for them to yell first. you know, the stages of yell, drop something, all that type of stuff. But for them, they're adults, so it's not about you dropping something. That's not going to be immediate thought of, oh, this means that she's gone. So that's their defense, the yelling and the physical. But these women, like I said, the one woman is about 105 years old. So it's like, it's ridiculous. Wow. And because they feel like they're not having sex with anybody, so they're purified or they're virgins again, as they put it in the video.
They're trying to pass it along. They're hoping to pass it to
I don't think that's the case with them.
Yeah, that's back in '95. That's what they were doing. They were trying to pass that disease to the child, meaning it will release from them, and the child would have it, and they will be free from it. But it was a superstitious thing.
Right. Nobody was cured, so I don't understand. So they're gonna try
adults now. Whole new, old people.
Well, I'm sorry about that, but let's keep these grandmas in prayer. That's ridiculous that they should have to do this. When I saw it, it just kind of vexed my spirit. I don't know what we could do. We did talk about the rape condom on the show. Was the last show or the show before last?
Maybe we should send a
if we could send a kit, everybody put together and buy grandma these rape condoms. But then that thing can't be taken off. They got to go to a hospital. They don't have access to.
Who you worried about the rapists?
Oh well, no, I shouldn't. Probably.
That's criminal justice.
Okay.
Let them figure out.
So it's gonna be like
all it takes is for one of them to get hooked.
That is true. Like, do you got that thing in? And they're gonna see that. There's always a way around.
I don't know. It might take more than one because you know some people slow.
Well, it's only took one person to tell them that he can sleep with grandma.
Yeah, never me. Go on. Okay.
They all got them. They all got them.
They got me. On
start a non-profit organization just to raise funds
for the kid send the condom over there. I'm here for it. I sure am. But we can discuss how we can partner up with
I think I'm just
another non-profit organization to send them the rape condom kits. I don't know what you call them, but look on our page, it's on there. Also, lastly, the last thing I want to discuss, I posted on our page, and I'm just going to ask y'all a question, and this will be a segue into our main topic, which is clarifying rape kit for grandma. Hashtag rape kit for grandma. I'm here for it, Dominic. You want it? We doing it. Listen, fundraiser. We all going to wear rape kit for grandma.
No, we're not all going
at Navarre's race on
I'll be holding up the sign that says
I'm gonna run this race.
Lastly, there was a post that I put up today. I just put it up today, so I didn't get a chance to get everybody's opinion on it before coming to the show. There was a question that pissed me off, actually. It said, should baby showers be given to unwed mothers? Do they deserve baby showers if you're having a baby out of wedlock?
That was a question.
Yeah, I put it on the page. I put it on my page, and I also put it on the Sunset Soul page. And I saved that one for last because that will lead us into clarifying some of the church situation, because this is one of the main topics that you hear with the females that were shamed and being set down and so forth in the church, and now feel some kind of way about it. But I'm trying to figure out the first word. Lashley, what's the first word that pissed me off? I'm gonna say it again. Should baby showers, do unwed mothers deserve to have baby showers? What's the word that pissed me off? That pissed me off.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Who are you to say what an unwed parent deserves? Where's the scale measuring if you deserve it or not? Like, who has the she just scarcely made it to deserving? Who does that? Who makes up the rules to this? Like, I think that's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. And I very rarely give my opinion first, but I'm gonna tell you what I said. I said that the baby shower is about the baby. It's about a celebration of that child's life. This is not about you being married. You want to talk about them being married, then you give a gift to them on their reception. That's when you are celebrating their marriage. Other than that, you bringing bottles. What do them being married got to do with Pampers? I'm sorry. Do I agree that it's better for the child to have two parents? Of course I do. Do I believe? No, right. No, I'm saying in a household, married. Of course, I think that having a good example, or not even necessarily the word good, showing a stable, household together, traditional. I think that's great. For a child to see. Awesome. Okay. But what I'm also saying is, you have a lot of people who are married, having these children are miserable, getting beat on. Yes. Great, let's have a baby shower for this woman who's miserable. Let's have a baby shower for this married woman whose husband won't even come to the baby shower, which that's 9 times out of 10 what you see. They don't even sell. You here by yourself, lugging all the bags you got for your baby shower by yourself, because he ain't even here. But that's okay, because you're married. I was so mad. Not you told me to finish my piece, I didn't finish it. I should have finished it.
Can I say
no? Because your partner told me that last week, and I'm still just as hurt as I was last week. So
I want to be the one that walked you through the process that you.
He said he run by his own self.
But listen, y'all can give me your opinion. You're married.
I am married.
Can I say something as a man?
Okay, go ahead. Wait a minute, will you be at the baby shower?
I'm in that baby shower.
All right, now you can say it then.
To be honest with you, it's not only for the baby, but this goes back to a village raising a child and helping one another. I believe honestly that woman is going to get the support that she needs financially right there, where she might not ever get it from anybody else throughout the baby growing up. She has an opportunity to gather what she can from the neighborhood, the family, with that little bit of support that she's getting. That's number one. Number two, it gives her confidence to believe that she has somebody on her side through the whole process, whether the church go there or anybody. If they don't want to be there, that's fine, but they're going to need some kind of support. My issue is that we pin, I don't want to hurt anybody's feeling, but we had an older generation that condemned certain things without supporting the mental stability or the mental health of that young lady while she was going through. So we'll condemn the action or condemn the baby being born by what's the word, help me, by assaulting her character by not showing up, assaulting her
so the baby don't get no Pampers?
No, and I'm trying to be diplomatic about it.
All right.
Because to be honest with you, there's nothing wrong with an unwed mother or a lady that's not married.
No, I agree with that. I'm saying for the state, for the position that they take, for their stance of not supporting because she
is I hear it now. That's the scary thing about it. I hear it now.
Oh yeah, that still happens.
And it's crazy because the reality of it is, as soon as you condemn them, your child comes up pregnant. Your daughter comes up pregnant.
But you're condemning them, and your position is I'm not buying, because the question is about the shower. Right. I'm not showering you with gifts. This is what you hear them say. What I'm showering her with gifts for? You're not showering her. This is the baby. You're not buying her anything.
Well, we grew up in an age where things like baby showers were considered celebrations. And that's when, you put the hat on the mother, and you do all of this stuff for the mother, decorate them, and it's kind of like her moment of, yay, having a baby. And my parents, I didn't have baby showers because when I'm having a baby, not the deserve wasn't the word. Why do you want to highlight and glorify the fact that you literally got caught in fornication because you just chill. Anything you need, you're gonna get, but you don't need to have no whole body. So I ain't had no whole body. So I don't like the word deserve, but I kind of get it.
You get what position?
I got the position of just kind of lay low. Like, it's not really the traditional setting. It's not necessarily exactly, well, it's definitely not the way that God designed for it to be. So I'm going to be taken care of. I'm going to be good. I don't need to have a whole baby shower. So I did have a baby shower.
So no, I had a baby shower. Let me say my position. I did have a baby shower because it was given for me. I had with my first child, somebody gave me a small one first. And then that one was like an impromptu, just a few people at the house. I didn't consider that my baby shower. And actually I felt bad because that should have been my baby shower. Once I went to the larger quote unquote baby shower, I respected the smaller one a little bit more. I just didn't, because in my mind, this wasn't my baby shower because I'm planning my baby shower. You wanted to do this, hand me a little dinner, something like that. But that was so much more important in hindsight because they wanted to do this for me, and they showed love and appreciation, and I appreciated it. They did the plate and the hat and bought the gifts, and I didn't appreciate it until I got smacked in the face with the big one.
Can I say this? And it goes back to what I said before. You got 9 months that you're going to be pointed at, you did wrong. When do you get restored within these 9 months?
Why are you getting pointed at?
I mean,
I know what you're saying.
You're getting pointed at like you did this wrong. You had sex. You had a kid out of wedlock. At what point do you restore this person in this process to say we're not proud of what you did, but you're not all that bad? We're
all that bad.
Can I ask?
I know what you mean, but this is what's being said.
So how did a baby shower? And I wasn't married when I had my children. I'm married now to one of my children's, to my son's father, but I didn't necessarily equate a baby shower with the decision or having a child before married. That wasn't a connection for me, because to me a baby shower is just celebrating the life that is now coming, regardless of what your status is. It's all who come are those who are happy for this new being entering the world, and whatever blessings they can bestow, that's what it's not about how he or she got there. So the connection is what's disturbing to me, because why does that even have to be part of that's why the deserve is coming in, because you're putting something extra on this. It's truly just a celebration of the life, not about what you did, what you didn't do, and all that kind of stuff.
It's a matter of perception, and that's what it was for me.
Right.
If I had a baby shower, my baby shower was going to either be at my mama's house or my grandmama's house, because that's where I lived at. Okay. And grandma certainly wasn't having no baby shower, because it was bad enough that they had to tell people that I was having a baby. But a lot of people carry that mindset on to present day, and they have yet to understand, like we're all saying today, the celebration isn't about the fact that you got pregnant.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
That's done. That's really
it's already. It happened within those 5 minutes.
Dominic said, just don't invite people that's religious or deep into the word to your shower. And this is why I chose to do this one last before going into our main topic. Like, if you are my friend and you're a bishop, you can't come because you're a bishop. Like, you can't come support me. No, I know, but I'm saying,
Dominic, I'm coming to the party because I'm not deep.
But I'm saying, but this, why do you have, why does that, like what you say, Lisa, why does that have anything? Because here's what it is. Then you want to turn around and tell me while I'm sat down in the pew that God can use anything. He can use your mistake for good. You're not the giver of life. That God does that, and any life serves a purpose. And this, I mean, I'm just coming up with stuff, and I'm sitting here looking like, then why am I sat down there? Because really, all I did was hook up with John, and that was a mistake. Like you said, about 5 minutes. Dag didn't mean that. We didn't turn around and say, "You want to have a baby? Sure, let's do that." Some people do, but I'm just saying that wasn't me and Lil John just got caught up in the moment. And I mean, that's how I went. And then now you don't want me to get rid of it, and then you want to shame me for 9 months? Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's a contradiction.
It's like, how am I doing what thus saith the Lord by keeping this child? I don't know what he said, 30 or 1.
It's not about thus saith the Lord. God did not say anything.
Okay. No, I'm not blaming. No, I'm saying
it's just our personal. We work so hard to please other people.
Right. Wait a minute, y'all. We gonna finish this when we come back, y'all. Stay tuned. We still got a lot to talk about. Share this to others to take part in the conversation. We appreciate it. We'll be right back.
Only in the forest can you see this. But nothing beats the moment you see that. Cool! That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. And you might just see this. Visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Here's what you missed on Salacious Life Radio.
When it comes to your children, especially if you're dating someone that you actually like, you do want it to work. So you're gonna hope and encourage the relationship between your child and that person because you like that person, you know, so you're gonna hope for the best. I mean, sometimes, yeah, it just doesn't work, and you can't make it work. You can't force it. It's like a branch. You keep bending it. Eventually, it'll snap, and even if you put it back together, it'll never be what it once was. But you definitely pray on it. You hope for the best, you know, because like nobody wants to spend the rest of their life alone just because a particular relationship didn't work out, but you had this beautiful creature as a result of it, you know. But you don't want to necessarily spend and you're not all of a sudden a bad person. You're not all of a sudden not going to fulfill this other person's needs.
You, madam, are a harlot and a scoundrel.
Because I had one kid while I was still married. Like,
I take that back.
What if the situation turns around the other way? So you ready for your child to meet? They meet the person, and this person is a giver. So this person's buying your child lots of gifts and wanting to.
I would usually.
Do you let?
You don't like. It's
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
But that is how Mother Dawn gets her. I'm really serious stuff. We're back. She told y'all.
You don't want to hear.
He it down in his shining eye. We were talking about baby showers, and the question was before the commercial break. The question was, should do mothers who are unwed deserve baby showers? And y'all seen how that conversation went. And then Dominic had mentioned about not inviting people who are religious or too deep to the baby shower, and how sitting in a church, it's a constant, like Lisa said, contradiction, because we're told that, you know, that God is the giver of life, and how abortions are, that is a sin. That said, we are sitting here being shamed and still bringing forth the life that is needed, obviously, for this world, because we have no control of giving of the life. So how do you handle, like my situation? And I had 4 children, so I had 4 situations. But one main, one stands out because I did. But listen, one sticks out to me because I had taken on a role of leadership at the church, because I was never one for standing up in front of the church and apologize. I thought that was ridiculous, and I don't think that we owe anybody in here an apology. Right. That said, just like I said to Pastor Middleton and the Bishop on last week, I had taken a role of leadership, and then those under me became my responsibility. And because I am standing up here in front of the church in leadership, I do owe you something. And I feel like I should be the one to tell you what's going on with me, and I should be the one to tell you that, you know, I have apologized, you know, I have asked God for forgiveness. Now, what they tend to do is get up there and ask the church to forgive them. That's the part I'm still struggling with. I don't understand why that is a necessity, unless, again, I am telling you, don't do this. This is the sin. You should not do this, because this is what the word says. And then I in turn do it because I am leading you a certain kind of way. I do owe you an apology, because I'm telling you one way and I'm doing something else, and you're watching me. And there's no way that you're going to know not to fall into that ditch if I did it first, besides me to tell you, Lisa, I just fell into the ditch. I'm sorry that I led you to a ditch. Don't go this way. You made a conscious decision to follow me when you saw the group going that way. You know, in my opinion, I don't owe anybody else anything besides God, in my opinion. But I did. I was obedient because I did.
Is the sound gone?
Is the sound gone?
Keep talking. No,
can you hear me now? You can?
It's not gone.
Okay. I did get up, and I apologize because I then was in leadership, and I took I took that responsibility and I did what I was told to do. But I said I would only do that once, and I felt like that was about obedience, not because it was something I had to do. Because I clearly, and I'm telling you, and I told you this before, I clearly said I don't believe this was my third child, and I said I don't believe this, I don't believe in this, and I'm not getting up there in front of the church doing this. And I heard God say to me, yes, you are. And I said, but God, this is not in your word. I shouldn't have to do this. And God said, that's why you're going to do it, because you are so adamant that you ain't going to do it. That's it. Like, that is it. Because you are so, your heart is so stone. You're so determined what you ain't going to do. The obedience was because I said so, which we said earlier back in. I don't have to give you a reason for why I'm telling you to do it. I'm telling you to do it because you are so cold with your response as to what you ain't going to do, that it was about humbling me. And so I did that. So I don't disagree with the person making a choice, feeling like they did something wrong or being obedient to what God or their leader say. I just don't agree with the mandate that comes along with, if you get pregnant, now you have to go in front of the church and tell all these people your business and then ask all of them for forgiveness. I think that's ridiculous. And I know a lot of people who have walked out of the church and was like, well, then I'm just not coming back.
Well, because I guess part of the indirect with that is I'm telling you and asking for your forgiveness, but you could be sitting there with the same situation. So that, how does that make sense? Yeah, something about that just doesn't.
Just because I actually got pregnant and you can see my son,
right? I
gotta apologize.
So you will be apologizing to someone who's just not at the stage where you are yet, and then that means what?
Like, probably apologizing to a bunch of people that's committing fornication anyway over there. Like,
well, that and that.
But you got caught. But you're getting caught again with today's message. Was to bring forth the life that's going to save their grandchild.
But sometimes,
you know, it's like it's so.
That's what
right. It's just crazy for me, because then the person sitting in the pew don't understand how they can't comprehend the right from the wrong already in the stage. I was wrong for what I did, but I gotta apologize for this wrong thing that I did, but this wrong thing that I did is going to bring forth a right thing.
No, it's not so much that, and I think even down to the whole process of apology and embarrassment, and that's really what it is. It's not so much for the sake of the apology. It's to embarrass you and to deter people from doing those things.
If you don't want to have to do this, then don't do that.
So you got to be embarrassed, and then you can't have a baby shower at all. No, so no, I'm serious. No, I'm really serious. This is what you hear. Yeah. This is what the person you asked about church. This is something.
I've seen it back in the days where they made the leaders do this, and what we've come to the point where we're making people who are not standing in leadership shame themselves, when it was actually started for leaders. When leaders got out of order, like you said, leaders owe the congregation an apology. So now, if I gotta apologize, I'm gonna make everybody else, which is totally wrong, because everybody is not held at that accountability. And we've gotten so dogmatic with it, is that if I'm doing wrong and I gotta apologize, I'm gonna make everybody in here doing wrong to apologize, which is completely wrong. But the new thing now is the new generation ain't making anybody apologize. Nobody owes anybody apology, from the pulpit to the door.
That's because they're not held accountable by anybody.
Exactly.
They start their own stuff and do what they want to do.
Exactly. And a lot, I don't want to say half, but majority of your new uprising small churches that are coming out of these big mega churches are leaving without true blessing. So they're starting their own thing from her. So if you're starting from her, you can only birth
or pride.
Which you or pride. You can only birth that, and you can't judge it, you can't correct it, you can't condemn it, because that's how you started your ministry. So how do you correct that?
I think the one thing, like you said, starting from her, and now again with me having to actually go through the humiliation of the apology, is to be able, some of these mistakes that we are shaming our members for, is so that they can empathize and properly minister to, effectively, it's a proper word, minister to people, because you can't understand how that may feel if you have never got up there and had to, or at least been in a situation as a parent that had to watch your child go through it. It could be indirectly, but I'm saying you can't recognize that to be, and that's something that's so major that people are, that is probably one of the most common things. And then we, as the female sitting in the pew, as the when I'm saying the female, because we're the ones that have to carry that seed. The musician, which is probably everybody's baby father, is still what?
Why gotta be the musician? Why gotta be?
Would you prefer me say the deacon?
Why can't it be the usher?
Would you prefer me say, because ain't nobody sleeping with the usher?
Why can't we say
ain't nobody sleeping with the usher? Who gonna sleep with the usher?
I want the usher.
I'm talking about the male usher. Who's sleeping with the male usher? Lisa, tell the truth. Ain't nobody sleeping with no male usher. If you male and you an usher, somebody wants to. Okay.
So let's go ahead.
I'm not saying you are married already. There is no single straight male ushers. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. You show me one single male usher. You lying. Straight. That's single.
Or not mentally challenged.
or that. Just they lie. But okay.
You done gave all the male ushers complex.
No, I'm not. I'm saying they
could yourself like I thought I was straight. Why would you say something like that?
I'm saying, then prove me wrong. I'm prepared. Please prove me wrong. Show me this man willing to serve.
I think he should have a baby shower.
Let's have a baby shower. Let's just have. Let's throw a baby shower. We throw a random baby shower. All the women that didn't get the baby showers.
Listen,
Lori, don't laugh at this nonsense, please.
These women are hurting. We're sitting here looking at whoever this man is, 9 times out of 10, still being used in the body of Christ. He's either doing whatever position, ushering, offering, whatever, cleaning, whatever it is that they're doing, they're working. And we're sitting down. That is already there. That's the beginning. You're talking about church hurt. And the reason why this stands out to me, not only because it's personal for me, it's continuous church hurt. It's not like the one Sunday that I apologized and he didn't have to. Maybe by next Sunday I could feel a little bit better. Then by a month after that, it'll gradually get better. But it's not. Because you got 9 months of sitting here watching them work. Sitting here waiting for somebody to be like, or now that you're pregnant and he's moved on to the next person. Now you're sitting here ashamed. He's still laughing. Now listen, ain't none of my baby fathers musicians, so this ain't personal. I'm just saying, but I'm just saying I know the story.
Ushers though.
Listen, hashtag no ushers. But no, listen, for real. But this is so it continues and it grows and it grows. And now why am I sitting here? Why am I sitting here in a church that I can't work? I mean, I'm looking at them. Why do I keep coming? So then now you had a baby. I ain't going back there. They ain't want me. I ain't bringing my daughter there. And this is how we're now back to the parents. And it's an ongoing cycle. Do you want to know why the youth are not in church? They ain't in church because their mother won't step back in church. And this is why. Grandma keep trying to get them to come, but that child is constantly being pulled with, don't go over there because all they is a bunch of hypocrites. Now we're at this stage. But what could have happened? The bishop and Pastor last week we was talking, and maybe the way I used the word proactive was felt like I was attacking you. I'm not attacking you, but I'm talking about, this is what I mean about being proactive, because now you're dealing with a cycle of situations that should have or could have been dealt with prior to.
I'm gonna make this statement. We've grown and evolved in church a whole lot with education. We didn't have psychology and all this other stuff. We didn't deal with people emotionally in the church as much as we talked about spiritual issues, and this spiritual and this is spiritual. And we lost focus on the hurt that, well, the prior generation lost focus on the hurt that it was causing, pushing them out of the church by not allowing them to continue in ministry. But if you look at it, this new generation, they're really not doing those same things. They're allowing them to minister. They're allowing them to talk through it or walk through their issue. It's the older saints that want to revert back, and it's the younger saints that wants the strength of the anointing to be there. So we're doing the habits or the things that Mom and them used to do, but not without the understanding that Mom and them didn't have the psychology part of helping them out. We just
I just want to interject right here while you're saying that, because that's what she said last week. And this is where you said, when she said there's no wisdom in the church because of the separation that you just used.
There was wisdom in the church. There was wisdom, but they did not deal with the psychology.
No, using what you just said. You just said the young people are branching out, having their own church, and the older traditional people there and they're around, and but there's no, the older people is where the wisdom lies, but there's no wisdom there. There's no older people. We're separated, so then you got the youth.
Because you have strength trying to strengthen with no wisdom. You have wisdom having no one to pass it down to. And the scary part is you're going to have a lot of strong, smart people, weaker but wiser. You're going to have a lot of strong people that's knowledgeable about the Bible but have no real relationship with God to understand why they did or why we need to do certain things. Go ahead.
Why do you say they have no real relationship with God?
No, well, when I say no real relationship with God, it's some of the stuff that we're doing that we call a relationship with God is nowhere near what God requires adequate to have a relationship with Him. And to be honest, if you look at it, some of the things that we're doing in our churches these days are not religious. It's what's a good word? It's emotional. Emotionalism. It's excitement. It's excitement. No. It wasn't. It was a lot more fast, a lot more praying, a lot more. But it was without the psychology part because we did not understand the damage.
That was more of a faith based, but back then.
So there it goes. If you from faith to spiritual, it's the same thing back in the days.
Let me say, Lori, and thank you for being transparent. Lori said she agreed. She said that was her personal experience, and she hasn't been back to her grandma's church since. And I have definitely said I'm not going there. They judge terribly, so therefore my kids don't go. Michelle said she's only seen that happen to unwed mothers. Why aren't their sins treated the same way? She also said routine, traditional. And this is the thing that we as women suffer with. And it's unfair to our kids because I will say now, Lori, we were talking about this earlier in the show, that our kids need that more than ever. And I'll admit, and you know that since all the things that happened with me recently at the church for the past 3, my kids haven't been anywhere. I mean, they might hit and miss. I might take them here for a Sunday and take them there for a Sunday. But as far as like now, so Michelle, you use the word routine, and yes, it is routine. But sometimes we need the routine because the routine is what keep us going. We get thrown off when we get out of routine, and that's what I'm missing. Because see, I used to feel some kind of way. My week would be thrown off because I didn't go to church, though it was routine. It was out of habit, but that habit kept me going. And I mean on the natural side of it, not the spiritual, because I wasn't there spiritually. Right. So me going was just out of routine. I was comfortable. I had ever gotten a routine, and we had to be up by this time because I had to get my kid. I got 4 kids, so I had to get the kids dressed and all that because of the routine kept me in line. Once you break that, now I got 2-3 years out of routine. And now trying, and I know that my kids, and they are showing all the signs of needing to be in this, and good, bad, or ugly. It's not any worse than what's going on in these streets, at all. So I know that they have a better chance of being around this group of people than being around that group of people. Put it like that. But now I'm out of routine, so trying to get them ready on a Sunday morning is very difficult. Trying to get the momentum to come home from work and then get dressed is very difficult because I'm so far out of routine. So I appreciate, which I didn't understand it. I didn't really think anything of it before because it was a routine. I appreciate that now, and I don't have that, and I know that now they need it, and I wish I kept. And tradition, you don't appreciate tradition until you do. Like there's no certain time in life that you say, now I understand. Not until you get into those moments of moan and agony. Moaning. When I say moan, I'm talking about deep, because they used to say the song like, if I couldn't say a word, I'll just wave my hand. That's why I'm using moan. I'm talking when I ain't got nothing else. I'm talking about that deep despair agony that you appreciate tradition, because tradition wasn't much, but that's all you needed.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of these younger churches, they flee from certain parts of tradition that was very important in our spiritual walk. There are certain part of tradition.
That's what was that?
Why do you say that?
Because
first of all, what was the noise that you just made?
That was the moan.
That's what that was. That's exactly what that was. We think that because Mama painted blue, I gotta paint blue.
No.
To get the same effect. Mama painted blue because all Mama had was blue. You feel what I'm saying?
I got you.
Grandma ain't had the words to say, but I might be totally articulate enough to get out what needs to be said. I might not, Grandma might have moaned because she couldn't say the prayer. Because we don't know where those traditions started from. But it's not fair to discredit what this generation has to offer in their personal relationship because it ain't what you used to see and what you thought was power. The power that we saw then was strong and powerful for then. There's a new power coming around now. Well, not new power. It's the same. It's the same. It's the same. But there's a new strategy coming about now to attack this new generation of stuff, and we got to stop discrediting this new generation because it don't look like what we used to seeing. It's not fair.
Can I say something now? Because it goes back to biblical. I'm not discrediting because I believe God is always moving and progressing. But there are some things God even got mad at. He told Israel, that's foreign fire. Certain things that we need that help us get the understanding and relationship with God. Like I got a buddy of mine that said he don't even make his church fast. He doesn't call a corporate communion. Communion is not important because that was a traditional thing back then. It's certain things that was the Bible is specific in doing these certain things to have this intimate relationship with God. I'm not saying.
Wait a minute, Lisa.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to not lose the point too, because when you were talking about the young women, and someone actually asked, why is it always we're focusing on the unwed mothers? But the other part of that in tradition, where I get kind of what you're saying is tradition has all these wonderful points, but you have to remember too the message that you're sending when someone said, well, what about the sons? Because I think that we're paying for that price as well. Because we let them see how we communicate with the women versus the men, and I think that is something they paid attention to. It's why we have a problem with the responsibility they take, and because there was none, and that was a tradition that they were doing. They only focused on her, not him, and he was like, okay, I'm free, and he started to get this, I just think that is part of what we're dealing with now. Not saying that I agree with what you're saying on some respect, but then I guess it's kind of even what we say at work when the older people are there and we come in with some brand new ideas, and the worst thing we want to hear is, but that's what we've always done. And that's like, we don't want to hear that, because what you always did, it still can be improved, changed, whatever. I just think that we should work. The problem is that they're separate, and nobody's bridging that gap so that we can get a little here, a little there, and we can feed back and feed forward and that kind of thing.
That's what I want Elisha to understand. I'm not condemning, because I'm one of these younger pastors, and I don't do everything that my grandmother and them did. Really? I wouldn't wear, back in the days, you wouldn't see me in jeans in the pulpit. You wouldn't see me.
Do y'all still wear dollies?
Huh?
Y'all still wear dollies?
Yeah, they still wear that, but not all of them.
They still cover their head.
Not all of them. And it's not even an issue in our ministry.
So it's not that they have to.
They don't have to. We couldn't wear pants. My sister preached her tail off in pants. Matter of fact, when she comfortable, she preach better when she comfortable. But that's neither here nor there. There are some things that I agree with. We had to get away with, but I cannot say. If you're looking at it, there are some things that they're gotten away from that was very important. And it goes back to the spiritual things of the relationship with God. And we're cutting off the spiritual things, and we're replacing them with things that moves us physically when we don't have the strength to deal with certain situations. Fasting helped us deal with certain situations. Praying, having a praying life helped us deal with certain situations. Having a communion helped us get our mindset together. But when you don't have these things and you don't explain why the importance of these things are in your church, then you lose the essence of certain powers that's offered. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Finish.
I can't finish it.
I just feel like we follow tradition more than we follow the word.
The word says.
I'm just saying we follow tradition more than we follow the word, and a lot of times we do what we see and we think the power is in what we see, and we follow the what instead of understanding the why and the who behind it. We have to stop just doing the what because we saw it and saw the effects of the what. You don't know what happened behind the scenes, and that's all I'm saying. And what I'm saying is you see my what. My what's different than grandma what, but you assume that my what don't produce the same power that grandma what did.
I think you're really missing what I'm saying. I'm not saying your what doesn't. I'm saying that if you look at the generation that is literally searching for the power of God and is set under those elders, they understand the what, the whens, and the whys. You have young people that are and I don't even want to name some names, but you know them, they love them, and I watch them preach, and they are awesome spiritually, awesome preachers. They're I'm about to say performance, but they're deliverance in the word. But no, because these guys are delivering the word with power. But if you ask them, they will tell you, I learned this because this is how grandma taught me, and I understood why she said it. You look at the guys that are performing now, that they're literally performing, you ask them why they're doing it. I don't know, I saw this other pastor doing it and it works. This works.
This is the same.
No, because what it's doing is producing people without the power but the performance.
But I think at the end of the day, this is the personal relationship.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what. But I mean, it's personal.
But you have to build. I don't been taught how to build that personal relationship. Mama and them taught us how to build that personal relationship. You don't just have a personal.
But listen, Mom and them told me they didn't need me because I was pregnant.
Right.
No. I'm still. This is where it is. Listen to what I'm saying. This is what the young people are saying. You're talking about the separation and why we need what Mom and them had. Listen, but I'm saying what you're saying is that the young people need what Mom and them had. We ain't disagreeing because the girl just told you, Lori just told you, she was at grandma's church. I was at grandma's church. You was at grandma's church. So it's not that we discredited what you had to offer because we were there. Whether we was there out of obedience, whether we was there out of routine or tradition, whatever, we was there. Grandma said, sit down. Grandma said, shut up. Grandma showed me she didn't need me. Who she needed was the musician. Because that's why they still was able to work. But we weren't, because we were not a necessity, is what I'm saying. Because if we were a necessity, the way the musicians were a necessity, then we would still be working.
Can I say something? That's not every church.
No, I'm not saying it is every church, but that's the majority. Your grandmother is awesome then. But Lori's grandmother wasn't.
Nettles didn't do that either.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are some that will say,
I agree.
Who is your baby father? Both of y'all come in. Both of y'all sit right here on this front row.
Right here, right? Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Oh no, I almost spit that word out.
What's your baby daddy? Come here, boy. Listen, but at the end of the day, the problem what we're talking about is the separation and how the youth is doing it their way for this reason. We talked about Leandria on last week. This would lead us to the church conversation. Leandria was one of the ones who started her own church, and she built her church on hurt. How we can say that? Because we can see the hurt that she is dealing with. We only using her because of what she had put out there. And just like Leandria, and just like many other people who said, you know what, I'm not going to do that. No different from what we were saying about as parents. When we grew up, we said we started doing things differently because we thought it was a bit too much. Right. Our parents did that to us. So now that's no different from us starting our own churches and taking some traditions in our mindset out of the church. But as I said, life is going to show you why and when to appreciate those traditions. Because I promise you this, you on your, God forbid, your deathbed, you ready to go into surgery, you ain't calling Dietrich Haddon. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to do it. You gonna call grandma because grandma got something. And I think that's the problem, that we are, this separation and this division is what's really killing us. Did you say 30 seconds? Okay. So listen, y'all, when we come back, because it's already 8:47, I just want to get into to two things when we come back. So stay tuned. We will be right back.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
you can't even see the top of that thing.
Even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Check out this snippet from the new season of Talk Lately with Monty about Jennifer Holliday.
Anyway, let's get back to
Yeah, well, what I wanted to say is that I can understand 100% where Jennifer Holliday is coming from, and that's sort of kind of where my 20% came from. When I basically came out and said who I voted for, I received a lot of backlash. Even on my own talk show, which comes on every Monday from 5 to 7 p.m., I was called a coon. Okay, yeah, shout out for the plug. But yeah, someone actually, they told CJ Bernie that I was a coon, and that really hurt me. I've been called everything from a fat whatever and everything, but someone actually commented on his Facebook. I didn't even say that. That's kind of rough. Called me a coon, but it's like I like you. It's crazy because I just feel like someone like Jennifer Holliday. I understand why she stepped down, but I'm kind of upset with her because I think she still should have performed. If you're going to jump out there, then stand in your truth. Don't let no one stop you or change your mind about anything. Listen, no one put a gun to her head and made her sign on for that. But it just seems like, she was basically, she was bullied.
But see, the thing about it is they will put a gun to her head to not do it.
I don't think so.
Well, that's what the threat says. You gotta say it's why it's called a threat. You don't know the hypotheticals in there that could happen to you.
Why do you think
she's not a well-known singer, so she's not going around with security. As soon as she goes to get her tracks at the mall,
right?
Pow!
Right, but at the same time,
we got a whole bunch of dead cats.
Yeah, but like what she said in the footage, today on The View was basically it's not white people who was threatening her. It was us who was threatening her.
Right. Where do you think she live? I think she live in Atlanta.
Exactly.
They gonna get her at the Ku Klux Klan mall and drag her by her hair.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
We are back. Before the commercial break, we were talking about we were talking about the woman being set down and how we respond to it as a church, and why the youth need the tradition and our parents or our grandparents' wisdom, and why the traditional church also needs the knowledge and experience and the strength of the youth. Before we end today's topic, I do want to get back into the metaphor that Lasha used on last week, because we talked about that when deciding to do the second show, when you had used the young lady, the daughter, and the dog, and we were saying how the question was, if your child your daughter had been attacked by a dog, how would you handle the fear of the child? And Pastor Pendleton said he would talk to his daughter, and then you said I think you also said the same thing, but talk to his daughter, and we would use that as this is what I mean by the church not being proactive and being reactive. And I want to stress the reason for that. When we spoke about it, I said the child coming to you and you having a son, because I think they were saying that if I have this conversation about the fear of the dog with my family, then that can then incite my son and the rest of them to now that can bring fear into my home. So they was hesitant. They was talk to the child herself about that situation and not bring it as a whole household conversation, because now you're bringing fear into the home to some extent. That could, in some sense, now make your other children afraid of a dog for no reason, when that was not a problem that they had before. And I said to him, in my opinion, that's exactly that's what the church is doing. We're going into the rooms, we're going into the side, talking to people, but that's not being proactive. That is still being reactive, because she had an experience, and that's your way of reacting to it, to try to help her through it. That's the normal way to do things. But being proactive is to now say, yes, deal with your child, with her fear, your daughter alone if you want, with her fear of dogs. But now you should be having a whole household conversation about fear as a whole, because that's what we're not doing. Because fear, everybody has a fear. And instead of allowing your daughter's running with the dog to be an isolated incident, and you're now being fearful to bring it into your home because you're now going to bring fear as a whole into your home, you can now say, you know what, let me utilize this situation. You mean you take this opportunity to now have a conversation with my home about, is there something that you're fearful of? Because that has now brought forth the conversation to your son to be able to say, you know what, Dad, I ain't really talk about it because we don't have them here where we live at, but I have a fear of snakes. Never liked snakes. Well, we don't deal with a lot of snakes in Baltimore, Maryland, you know, but you don't realize that 10 years from now, you're going to send your son on assignment. And your son is going to get approached. He's going to be in Arizona. He's going to be somewhere and he's going to have to deal with snakes, but he never had the opportunity to deal with it with you because you did not be proactive and have a conversation. And this is what I'm saying the church don't do. We don't take this opportunity as, okay, fine, if I'm going to be sat down and I can't work because I'm pregnant or whatever this is, then let this be a moment that you now rally up your young girls. Okay, listen, because you know the musician got me pregnant. You know, I'm just using this for an example. I'm serious though, because this is the problem. I'm just using the musician, but then nobody want to talk about how they ran through all the girls at the church. You know why they ran through them? Because you didn't be proactive when she got pregnant. See, once she got pregnant, no.
Right,
we're going to stop this right now.
He's still hitting those.
Right. So now,
you don't know the drums.
You know, the only thing he's hitting the drums.
All these little
okay, the drums, so be it. But I'm just saying that the reason for all of this last week was so that we can urge the body as a whole to stop waiting for moments like this with Leandria and then now trying to react to it and then getting angry the way we did last week to defend your position instead of saying, you know what, okay, I probably slept on that. So let me now go back and say, let me just ask y'all, I didn't think we had this issue here, but is there something that we should be talking about? Is there somebody here that is hurt? And that's what I felt like churches need to do, and that was what the whole conversation was, in my opinion, on last week. Thank y'all so much, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. We didn't get a chance to get into all of the questions, but you know how we do on Sunset, so I appreciate it so much. We will see y'all again on next week. Lisa, thank you so much for coming in. We will be posting some of Lisa's products. Was it of the Touch by Dove. She makes amazing stuff. If you saw my pillows on before my cats mess them up on my plate, you'll see them again. They are so beautiful. We'll post some of her things so that you can reach out to Lisa and get any products. We appreciate she came all the way from DC to come be with us tonight. Thank y'all for so much, and we hope you come back.
Absolutely.
Everybody, y'all have a good night. Have a good one.
Good night.
For something you already do, listening to us. It's Radio Loyalty, and it's an easy way for you to get free stuff. All you do is sign up. Go ahead and click the banner now. You'll earn points as you listen. Points you can trade in for great products and services in the radio